And I understand that as well. The flip side of that is she should have thought of that before she engaged in the behavior that she did.
So this sentencing stems from what was supposed to be just a routine home visit. The situation escalated, and the court is now looking at what happened to the worker who was there just trying to do her job. Watch how the judge balances the defendant's character evidence against the reality of the danger these caseworkers can face. My name is Dan. This is the Courtroom Files.
257316 at page 10 days after Ms. Murray's sentencing. She's present before the court, represented by Attorney Dallas L. Rooney. People are represented by Prosecuting Attorney Timothy J. Rakowski. Back on March 16th of this year, the defendant pled no contest to assault and battery upon a DHHS employee. Ms. Karen Everland prepared the pre-sentence report dated April 30th, 2026. Letters have been received on behalf of Ms. Murray, including letters from Chris Simmons, Donna Storkel, Summer Mahan, M-A-H-A-N, Emily Thomas, Ryan, I couldn't get the last name, Cheryl Hogan, Danielle Spackman, S-P-A-C-K-M-A-N, Tracy Madden, Danielle Talley, and Rochelle Ranquist. Mr. Rooney, have you and your client had the opportunity to review the pre-sentence report?
We are, Your Honor.
Are there any additions, deletions, corrections, or objections?
We did provide the last minute.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I forgot to add Stephanie from our. Yes.
And I got it.
Very well, thank you. Any issue with the report?
No.
Any issue regarding guidelines?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Murray, do you agree with all that? Mr. Rakowski, any objections to the report as well as guidelines?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Rooney, what would you like to say on behalf of Ms. Murray before the court imposes sentence?
Well, Your Honor, my client is 35 years old. She's a graduate of MADX. She's always employed, usually multiple jobs. She's a single mom. She has 2 children, ages 5 and 10. And 15. She has no prior felonies. Her misdemeanors include 2 traffic cases and a bad check case. In other words, no violent offenses. Person was pretty impressed with all the character letters she got, not only number of them, but content. Describing to her some very good character as far as her fellow church members, friends, lawyers. The takeaway I got was that she is a person who goes out of her way to help anyone almost any way she can. Her comfort scores were about as good as you can get. Guidelines are 0 to 11 months. Recommendation is 6 months. Normally, I wouldn't object too strongly to those to that recommendation if she could get work release. However, the children are a complicating factor here due to having to have somebody supervise them when she's at work, or if she did get work release, we'd watch them at night. In addition to that, her one daughter has a cheerleading camp this Saturday, so we're thinking about perhaps weekends. We can wait till after this coming weekend. That would be helpful since she already paid for this cheerleading camp and also this special needs camp that she's been volunteering at for a number of years. That's at the end of July on a weekend also. So I'm hoping that we can work around the jail time, perhaps with some additional community service, which obviously she likes to do. She does a lot of it. As far as the incident itself, she did plead no contest to that. I'm subbing today for Mr. Lockhart, so unfortunately she can't really help you on the exact incident. But I did see in PSI that she did apologize to Ms. Sorensen, writing, I believe, at another CPS hearing. She would apologize today. I haven't worked in family court in a couple of years now, but I did for many years. And I know that
We'd love to have you back too, by the way.
as you know, emotions can run a little high in those type of cases. As far as the parents, they're under a lot of pressure, you know, the demands of classes and parenting time, and counseling, on top of juggling their work and childcare, put food on the table, things like that. I'm not excusing the actual incident. I'd say based on my reading that she definitely crossed the line of acceptable behavior when she had this argument and some push shoving with Ms. Sorensen. But I've represented Ms. Murray a couple times in the past. And I think I can vouch for her and say she's not a violent person. I mean, you see what happened with her and Ms. Sorensen, but I think her character is closer to what we read in the letters than one isolated incident of getting upset with the CPS worker. So I'm hoping we can somehow hold the jail time in advance due to the child care issues. Substitute some more community service or do weekends or something like that, but she is working one job full time right now. And if we can somehow work around this cheerleading camp that she had already paid for, that's for the daughter this weekend.
Does your client wish to address the court in light of the no contest? Mr. Rakowski, anything on behalf of the people? And this is a victim's rights case as well.
It is a victim's rights case. I've talked to Ms. Sorensen in the past, and I don't believe she was going to show up. However, she was very emotional when I talked to her, though, about this. And I would point out to the court, because I know the court has its own family court docket. And one of the hearings that we had, which was shortly after this happened, within a few weeks, Ms. Sorensen had to testify to give an update as to what had happened, and she included this incident. And I would submit to the court that when she appeared in front of you and gave you that update, she was tearing up during that as well, because it was a pretty significant event. The work that the Department of Health and Human Services and the CPS workers have to do is very difficult work. And yet it gets complicated more by people like Ms. Murray, because all Ms. Sorensen was out there to do was just to verify the circumstances of the home again, as she would do in her normal work. And when she was going through and documenting, she had to go upstairs and ask Ms. Murray if she'd go up with her, and then Ms. Murray chose not to. Ms. Murray said, "You go up with my son," but her son in the past has accused Ms. Sorensen of going through his items. And Ms. Sorensen said, "No, because of that, I need you to go upstairs." And then she said, "Well, Ms. Sorensen said, I'm going to leave then." And this defendant held Ms. Sorensen there. And so I understand what Mr. Rooney was saying, that, you know, this is a circumstance that there may have been some pushing and shoving, but it was more than that, because Ms. Sorensen had marks on her. She showed them to the police when she filed the report. She had bruises on her arms, and she was very upset about it. Your Honor, we're asking the court to impose a sentence of at least 9 months. The guidelines are 0 to 11. And that's because of the circumstance here and what Ms. Murray had done to Ms. Sorensen. And Ms. Sorensen is just doing her job for the department and trying to make sure that everything is good at the home so that it's safe for the children. And the response you got back from Ms. Murray was to assault her. And so for that, we ask for that.
Thank you. Ms. Murray comes before the court, 35 years of age, no prior felonies, 3 prior misdemeanors, 12th grade education, gainfully employed. The letters that have been submitted on her behalf were extremely glowing relative to her volunteering, her hard work, family life, etc. The court doesn't excuse that or dismiss it. That's significant. On the flip side, we have an incident, and the court takes judicial notice of the family court file as well. Ms. Sorensen was conducting a home inspection that she's required to do. And in fact, one had been ordered by the court as well in a previous matter. And All had to be done was simply do the inspection, get in, get out, we're done. Well, it didn't work out that way. And at least from my experience as a judge now covering family court matters involving either juvenile delinquency or abuse and neglect cases, being a caseworker is not at all. Matter of fact, it's sad to see actually the amount of turnover that we see of caseworkers, because either one, they find something better, or they're just so burned out because of the daily activity that they have to undergo by going into families' homes, meeting with families, counseling with families, working with families. I mean, there's also a flip side to it too, that some people look at it as simply, well, it's just a state poking their nose into a family's life. But I can tell you that that's not the case here, not in any way, shape, or form. There was a true family court case that was brought to this court's attention, and things had to be done, including home inspections. And frankly, the behavior of Ms. Murray was uncalled for, frankly. I can understand frustration and being upset, but it's part of the system. And it's the ultimate goal is to make the family better. It's better for the family, better for the child, better for the community moving forward. And sometimes we don't like necessarily what we're being told to do, but when we're under court jurisdiction, it's a different story. I understand Mr. Rakowski's position on this as well, in that the guideline range is 0 to 11, and he's requesting a pretty good chunk of jail time here. Mr. Rooney, on the other hand, takes the position, well, wait a second, bad mistake, terrible judgment and error, and is there anything we can do outside of jail time because the defendant has a family? And I understand that as well. The flip side of that is she should have thought of that before she engaged in the behavior that she did. So, considering all of that, it will be the sentence this court that the defendant be placed, on a term of probation for a period of 2 years. Conditions of probation include the standard conditions: not to violate any criminal law of any government, not to leave the state of Michigan without prior approval, court notifying the probation agent at least monthly or such time as place as the agent be required. She's to complete any mental health, domestic violence, battery intervention, or other recommended treatment following assessment by a qualified community-based service provider. She's to waive confidentiality and allow treatment programs she's required to attend to disclose that information to the agent. No verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with Terry Sorensen, either directly or through another person, nor be within 500 feet of her residence, school, or place of employment. No assaultive, abusive, threatening, or intimidating behavior. No verbal, written, electronic, or physical contact with anyone housed within an NDOC facility, nor the same type of interaction with anyone that's engaged in a behavior that constitutes a violation of any criminal law of any government. She must not use any object as a weapon, nor own, use, or have under her control a weapon of any type, not even an imitation weapon. She can't be around anyone that possesses those items. She's a convicted felon. She's to contact the supervising field agent no later than the first business day following her placement on probation or release from jail. She must comply with all written and verbal orders of the agent. She's to allow the agent to her residence at any time for probation supervision, where she's subject to a search of her personal property, but not limited to her home, vehicle, or computer without the need of a warrant if the agent has reasonable cause. She has items that violate the terms of her probation. She is to report any arrest or police contact, loss of employment, change of residence to the field agent within 24 hours. She is gainfully employed, but the standard genuine effort employee provision will be provided. Crime victims assessment of $130, probation supervision fee regular, $30 per month, $60 electronic. Court cost of $200 payable at the rate of $10 a month. A fine of $200 payable at the rate of $10 a month. Attorney fees are waived. $68 in state costs will be ordered. Probation is empowered and authorized under statute to effect her apprehension, detention, and confinement of up to 72 hours on reasonable cause to believe that she's violated conditions of probation. If referred, she is to successfully complete any PA 511 programming based upon eligibility. Finally, it will be the sentence of this court. Defendant served 180 days in the county jail, credit for 1 day served. Regarding the jail time in this matter, out of that 180 days of jail time, 11 of which will be served on weekends. 1 day credit, so that'd be 10 days. She's to report to the county jail Friday. Let's see. June 19th. What time does she get off work on Fridays?
About 4.
She doesn't work on the weekends, does she? Okay, so there'd be no work release.
Did you have?
Is it this Friday that she has?
Yeah, this weekend is that cheer.
Right. So it'll be June 19th, 20th, 21st, be released Monday morning at 6 a.m. And that will continue for the 10 days. And the remaining jail time will be held in abeyance. You successfully complete the terms and conditions of your probation. No further jail time will be warranted. However, you violate the terms and conditions of your probation, you will serve the 180 days without any work release at all. My duty to inform you of the right to seek leave to appeal. If you're financially unable to provide counsel of your own choice, court will assign counsel for the public expense. Please initial the receipt and questionnaire form requesting the assignment of counsel, both of which must be executed under oath and filed with the court within 48 days.
Yeah, we said,
Record shall reflect. Yeah, you're welcome.
So there's one thing that I was really thinking about while I was watching this hearing, and that's this. These workers, they're not police officers, but they still walk into unpredictable situations where emotions are high and things can turn quickly. And I think that's something that has to be recognized. And I think the judge clearly wanted it recognized and wanted it taken seriously. That's my thoughts on the matter, but I'm curious what you think, so take a moment and let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and check out one of the two that's on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching.